In addition to the BC David and Goliath theme, we have the AD 800 story of Roland, Child Roland, legendary son of Charlemagne's sister Giles. There are many poetical chronicles of young Roland's infances, a very young person's heroic exploits, such as vanquishing giants, one named Ferragus and another Aumont, from the 8th to the 17th century. Many variations of the story occur, published in Latin, Italian, French, and English. Much esteemed in Italy, Roland was known there as Orlando Furioso. The order of the name's first two letters is reversed from RO to OR, as immortalized in the AD 1502 poem by Ludovico Ariosto. The first comprehensive chronicling of Roland was written in Latin by Turpin, Archbishop of Reims, before AD 800. Roland, or Orlando, is mentioned by Dante in his Paradiso and is the subject of songs sung in the Battle of Hastings in the Chanson de Roland, c. AD 1100. Shakespeare mentions him in King Lear. With the advent of radio and television, the children's Mother Goose-type storybooks of yesterday have been progressively abandoned. Few people today are familiar with the 1,000-year-old story of the roaring of the giant as Roland approached his tower. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. Supreme horse-mounted monarchs in the days of Roland could and did award vast hunting and farming lands to their horse-mounted bloodkin and military henchmen who together hunted their lands and had them cultivated by on-foot tithe-paying tenant farmers. In ancient North China, a new kind of giant had developed long before Roland's time, a three-component parts giant, i.e., the little man with a club mounted on a horse who could and did overwhelm the big on-foot tribe-leading shepherd. This new composite giant, the horse-mounted bully, could divert to his sole advantage as much as he wanted of the life support productivity of the on-foot peasantry. The horse-mounted, club-wielding bully asserted, as do the 20th century racketeers, that he owned the land on which the shepherds were grazing their sheep or the farmers were growing their crops. There was no way in which the shepherd could realistically contradict the bully. Each night, many of the shepherd's sheep disappeared until the shepherd agreed to accept the horse-mounted bully's protection. This was the origin of property. The most powerful amongst the leaders of gangs of horsemen became the emperor. The emperor rewarded his henchmen with deeds to the land in proportion to the deeds at arms they performed for him. There is no historical record of religion founders who have been so bold as to assert that God had deeded land to anyone. History shows that religious leaders have, however, frequently complied with their king's instructions to plant a cross or other symbol of God's approval of their king's sword accomplished vast land seizure and ownership claiming. Over 30,000 years ago, these prehistoric horse-mounted landowners began expanding their territory northwardly and westwardly beyond the Himalayas into Mongolia and then ever westward into Europe. Also, starting at least 30,000 years ago, South Pacific Islanders and South and Northeast Continental Asians came to the west coast of North, Central, and South America from the Orient by rafts swept along by the Japan Current. Many, if not most, of the rafted Southeast Asians colonized the west coast of the Americas and islands of the East Pacific. The current then returned some of the rafters to Southeast Asia, as Thor Heyerdahl demonstrated with his raft Kon-Tiki. This circum-Pacific ovaling of the Japan Current raft travel outlined the Polynesian world within which was spoken a commonly based language. The Polynesians became the world's water people. Polynesia comprised more than 1/4 of the planet Earth. The great west coast mountain ranges and deserts slowed both the North and South American coastal raft-landed colonists' eastward migrations. Landed at many North and South American coastal points from Alaska to Chile, these raft-landed Polynesians separated into many groups as they moved eastward over many routes to both North and South America to become known as the American Indians. As water people, the Indians assumed that the Great Spirit, not an anthropomorphic god, gave them fishing, hunting, and cultivating rights, but never ownership of land. Obviously, to them, only the Great Spirit could own the land. Centuries later, the Indians thought they were selling the Europeans only fishing and hunting licenses, not property rights. These were water people. No sailor can think realistically of owning a specific area of the ever-transforming oceanic waters. Many pirates tried vainly to do so.